After years of managing the narcissistic sociopath Isabel Reed, I'd finally racked up enough points to go home. I was practically vibrating with excitement, ready to cash them in and get the hell out. But just as I was about to confirm the exchange, the system popped up blocking my path. What about the child? She's the protagonist of the next project. You should stay and be there for her. I couldn't stop myself from rolling my eyes. Isabel and her daughter, Chloe, were a match set of unhinged monsters. My life with them had been a blur of verbal abuse and casual violence. Who gave a damn what happened to them? As if on cue, Isabel herself burst in, just in time for some grade A guilt tripping. Can't you just try to be a father? Don't you have any feelings for us at all? I wasn't falling for it. I slapped her hand away. Get out. No one was stopping me from going home. That night, I was on a call with my buddy Leo when the system reappeared. Host, I've detected your point balance is sufficient. Do you wish to remain? No. No way. I want to go home. Leo overheard me and his voice lit up. Wyatt, man, you can finally go home. I'd met Leo after being yanked into this world. We were both players in this twisted game, just assigned to different targets. His mission was the story's male lead's idealized ex-girlfriend. Mine was the obsessive runner-up who could never have him. No matter what I did, Isabel was hardwired to fall for the main character. My time was short, and Leo had a new assignment. Before he left, he gave me one last piece of advice. Dude, Isabel treats you like dirt. Don't let a moment of weakness make you stay. Don't be an idiot. I nodded, but the system was clearly pissed off. Its voice was flat and lifeless, making no secret of the fact it didn't want me to leave. Just as I was about to initiate the transfer, Isabel came home. I went downstairs to meet her, as I always did, holding out a bowl of hot soup. But something was different tonight. A dark energy rolled off her in waves, and her eyes were bloodshot. When I didn't say anything, she grabbed a glass of water from the counter and hurled it at me. Wyatt Evans, I'm telling you, don't get any stupid ideas. You are my husband. You will stay by my side, and you will be taken care of. My fingers brushed over a faint scar on my arm, a souvenir from a teacup she'd thrown a few days ago when she was in a similar mood. Don't even think about leaving me, she continued, her voice softening into a desperate plea. There's nothing going on with Caleb Vance. I just admire his talent, that's all. She was trying to justify herself, but I just watched her with cold detachment. This woman was an expert at faking devotion right before she sank her teeth into you. I remembered our wedding day. The actual male lead, Caleb Vance, had shown up. She'd hooked her arm through his, and he looked more like the groom than I did. He'd leaned in close to her, his voice a low murmur. Who's this? Isabel had just shaken her head. It's nothing, just someone unimportant. Right then, any feeling I might have had for my mission objective evaporated. Just then, my daughter, Chloe, ran over and grabbed Isabel's arm. Mom, don't bother. Dad's just jealous that Uncle Caleb is more talented and way nicer than he is. I stared at the child. She wasn't mine by blood, but I had raised her from infancy. She'd been a sickly baby, and I'd lost count of the sleepless nights I'd spent by her side. To hear those words from her now, it was a special kind of cold. The system told me my transfer required upper-level approval, and that I'd have to wait a few more days. If it wasn't for this damn system, I'd already be living my life, carefree. My real family was well off. I graduated from a good university and landed a great job right out of college, only to be hijacked by this godforsaken program a day before I was supposed to start. Chloe was still babbling. Just let him go. All he does is hang around the house all day like a leech, eating and drinking. He's nothing like Uncle Caleb. When I first arrived in this world, I was ambitious as hell. I didn't quit my job after marrying Isabel. But after Chloe was born so fragile and sick, and with Isabel completely checked out, I worried a nanny wouldn't be enough. So I quit my career to raise her myself. Back then, Isabel was always off with Caleb, and I finally gave up on her completely. Chloe's arrival had been a small ray of light in my life. My hands started to tremble with rage. This ungrateful little monster was exactly like her mother. Isabel came from nothing, a fact that made her feel hopelessly inadequate next to the story's golden boy protagonist. If I hadn't found her and helped her during a brutal winter blizzard, she would have frozen to death. After we were married, her true colors came out. Whenever she got angry, she'd hit me or scream, throwing princess-level tantrums. If the system hadn't been restraining me, I would have knocked her out and run long ago. My thoughts snapped back to the present. I raised my hand and brought it down hard across Chloe's pale cheek. She clutched her face, her eyes wide with disbelief. Isabel stopped being a bystander. Wyatt, what the hell is wrong with you? She shrieked. What did Chloe do wrong? What did I do wrong? So she said a few words. Is that a reason to hit your own daughter like you're trying to kill her? She said it so casually. A few words. In what universe does a daughter talk to her father like that? I'd given her way too much leeway. Chloe, recovering from the shock, threw herself into Isabel's arms. Mommy, Daddy hit me. I don't want him to be my daddy anymore. My face hurts so much. I let out a cold laugh, my eyes locked on her. You ever say anything like that again, I said, my voice dangerously low, and you won't see tomorrow's sunrise. That was the last straw for Isabel. She slapped me hard across the face. We were standing at the top of the staircase. I wasn't prepared. The force of the blow sent me tumbling backward down the stairs. The housekeeper and butler at the Reed mansion were experts at reading the room. Seeing Isabel's rage, not a single one moved to help me as I lay crumpled at the bottom. I reached up and touched my head. My fingers came away slick with blood. Because of Isabel's constant abuse, my body was already weak. The blood loss was too much, and I passed out. As I drifted in and out of consciousness, I could hear them talking. Mommy, can Uncle Caleb be my daddy? Not yet, sweetie. Your father hasn't completely signed over control of the company to me. When I woke up, only Leo was sitting by my hospital bed. That bitch hit you again? I nodded. It wasn't the first time I'd thought about running, but the system always held the promise of going home over my head to control me. If I dared to fight back, it would hit me with an electric shock. But this time, how did Isabel know I was planning to leave? System, don't play dead. Did you snitch on me? Caught. The system dropped the pretense and came out, its voice a pathetic whine. Host, your daughter is the protagonist of the next story, which is also my responsibility. If you leave, she'll have a complete breakdown. I had no choice but to tell Isabel. My relationship with the system had always been hostile. I was living a perfectly good life in my own world. Why did it have to drag me here? It called it saving the female supporting character, but its methods were disgusting. So you just sold me out? Like that. I could feel a humorless smile twisting my lips. If my original body had died, like Leo's, I might not have a single complaint about being here. But hadn't. Leo, worried I was getting too worked up, tried to calm me down. Hey, it's okay, man. Remember that person you planted in Isabel's inner circle? It's been long enough. She's not going to be around much longer anyway. My head was pounding. Isabel hadn't even bothered to get me a decent doctor. That evening, Isabel came to see me. I've already spoken with your system. You're not going back. If you leave, who will take care of our daughter? I scoffed. What? Is she my daughter alone? You can't find a single person in that mansion of yours to look after her? If it's that much of a problem, why don't you just marry Caleb and let him do it? Isabel completely lost it. What did I do wrong? I just don't want my daughter to grow up without a father. Besides, Caleb and I are just friends. Friends, right? Just as she finished speaking, there was a knock on the door. Isabel's personal nutritionist came in with a dinner tray. Ms. Reed, the main course tonight is shrimp scampi. And don't forget your vitamin capsule this evening. I made eye contact with the nutritionist for a split second, mentally counting down the days. After Isabel finished her meal, a nurse came in to change my bandages. Isabel took the medical kit, ready to play the part of the devoted wife and do it herself. Just then, a bodyguard burst in. Ms. Reed, Mr. Vance says he's having chest pains. Isabel's hand trembled, and she dropped the forceps with a clatter. What did you say? Get a doctor to see him now. After she rushed out, Leo shook his head in disgust. What a piece of work. Who does she think she is, telling you that you can't leave? The second she hears her boy toy has a little chest pain, she's gone. She doesn't give a damn about you. I managed a faint smile. If you weren't here, she wouldn't even bother pretending. The worst part is, she has absolutely no idea she's done anything wrong. In her mind, I'm the one being unreasonable. Isabel grew up in the foster care system. Now that she had money, her entire life was a performance, a desperate scramble for respectability. As for why she was so obsessed with Caleb Vance, the reason was simple. He grew up in the system, too. Being with someone like that was the only way she could ever feel like she'd truly made it. A little while later, Chloe showed up. Dad, how could you be so cruel? Uncle Caleb is so nice. Why did you call and yell at him? I was confused. Who called and yelled at him? Leo, seeing my expression, figured it out instantly. He's probably playing the victim. Looks like the hero, but he's a two-faced snake. I understood. Caleb must have claimed he got a call from me this afternoon, then spent the rest of the day acting distraught. Now he was complaining of chest pains, so when Isabel rushed over, she'd find him looking like he was on the verge of a heart attack. But why was Chloe here? Shouldn't she be with Isabel, comforting her precious Caleb? His target was clearly Isabel, so why was he trying to screw me over like this? I always thought that kind of petty rivalry was beneath a supposed hero, but I guess the book's protagonist wasn't as magnanimous as he seemed. You're a monster, Chloe continued, her voice dripping with accusation. Mom should have married Uncle Caleb in the first place. I'm so embarrassed you're my father. Leo was stunned, unable to comprehend how my own daughter could be so viciously loyal to another man. Your dad worked his ass off to raise you, and this is how you repay him? Leo shot back. And who cares if he called that guy or not? Even if he did, you have no right to talk to your father like that. He was furious on my behalf, but I just scanned the room, my eyes landing on a fruit knife on the bedside table. I picked it up and, without a moment's hesitation, lunged toward Chloe. This little animal didn't deserve to be my daughter. Just as the gleaming blade was about to reach her, the hospital room door flew open and a figure threw himself in front of her. It was Caleb. Caleb, are you okay? Isabel shrieked, rushing in behind him. They both knelt over him, frantically checking for injuries. When Caleb didn't respond, Isabel shot to her feet and screamed at me. Wyatt, are you insane? That's your daughter. Chloe joined in, her voice a shrill echo of her mother's. Dad, is it just because I like Uncle Caleb more? You are such a selfish, evil person. I looked down at the magnanimous and kind man on the floor with utter contempt. Stop acting. The handle was pointed at you. I'm not a monster who would murder his own child. Unlike some people. Leo had told me something that wasn't in the original novel. He said Caleb used to work as a bartender and got the original female lead pregnant. The novel said she had a miscarriage. The reality was that Caleb strangled the baby the moment it was born. Caleb's lips trembled. Wyatt, how can you say that about me? I don't have any children. Isabel shielded him with her body. That's enough. You can't just spread vicious rumors about Caleb because you're jealous. You just wait. I'll deal with you for that phone call later. She turned back to Caleb, her voice dripping with concern. Caleb, are you okay? Let's get you a full workup. After Isabel left with her entourage, I turned to the system. When are you sending me home? There was a long silence before it replied. I'm sorry, host. I have already communicated with your wife. You will be staying in this world. I exploded. What the hell do you think you are? And who the hell is Isabel? What gives either of you the right to make decisions for me? The system dodged the question. Host, you should be thanking your lucky stars. So many people would kill for an opportunity like this. You're a piece of garbage, I spat. Worse than an animal. The system immediately cut off my connection. I couldn't contact it anymore. Seeing me raging uselessly in a hospital bed, Leo rushed over. What's wrong? Tears of frustration streamed down my face. I can't go back. This damn system. I want to go home. When I was first brought here, I was just the unfavored son of a wealthy family. I'd fought hard for everything I had. After meeting Isabel, I never had a moment's peace, constantly on guard to keep her from having a complete psychotic break. Leo hesitated for a moment, then said, What if my system sends you back? I'm on good terms with mine, and you've completed your mission, right? I agreed instantly, forgetting the pain in my head as I sat bolt upright. But what about you? How will you get back? If it was possible, I wanted Leo to come with me. He just shrugged. Me? I can't go back. In my original world, I'm pretty sure I'm already dead. After a moment of silence, Leo confirmed he'd cleared it with his system. It was willing to help. See? Not all systems are the same, I muttered. Some are just born evil. The system in my head must have heard my thoughts, because it started screaming, Host, you can't go back. Host, what will happen to your daughter if you leave? I couldn't be bothered with this heartless program anymore. I gave it a one-word answer. Scram. Tipped off by the system, Isabel returned in a hurry. Wyatt, I know you're jealous of Caleb, but we really are just friends. And besides, I just don't want our daughter to lose her father. I stood in the middle of the room and laughed. I'm jealous of Caleb Vance? Why would I be jealous of him? In my world, or this one, my life has always been better than his. Am I supposed to be jealous of his inability to make a living, forcing him to be some rich woman's kept man? The fake smile on Caleb's face dissolved into a look of pathetic grievance that made me want to vomit. Isabel, he whimpered. Wyatt's just speaking his mind. Don't blame him. Isabel immediately took on the air of a queen defending her court. Caleb, you're just too kind. That's why people take advantage of you. I'll make him apologize right now. She turned to me, her voice low and threatening. Apologize to Caleb. Now, or we're getting a divorce. Her wonderful daughter, Chloe, chimed in from his side. That's right, Dad. You were mean to Uncle Caleb, so you have to say you're sorry. If you don't, I won't be your daughter anymore. Some people are just born rotten. Chloe was just as bad as her mother. Behind me, Leo whispered, the portal's open. You can go. Isabel's mouth opened, as if to say something else. I grabbed the fruit knife from the bedside table and hurled it in her direction. In that split second of chaos, I glanced back at Leo. He didn't say a word, Just shove me forward. Go. Now. A flash of white light blinded me. As I lost consciousness, I heard a chorus of voices fading into the distance. Leo, once you're gone, don't ever come back. Isabel, I just don't want my child to be without a father. Is that so wrong? Chloe, Dad's so jealous and irresponsible. And finally, Caleb's fake, mournful sigh. Isabel, I'm so sorry. I think I made Wyatt run away. I woke up in my own bed, in my own apartment. I grabbed my phone. In the real world, 3 days had passed. After lying in bed for a while, my best friend, Mark, called. Wyatt, man, where have you been the last couple of days? I felt a wave of dizziness. How do you even begin to explain something like transmigration? No one would believe me. Mark's voice was cheerful. Hey, let's go out tonight. How's that new job going? I didn't want to bug you. Figured you were settling in. My head was splitting. Had the injuries from that other world come back with me? Yeah, okay. I'll call you when I'm ready. As I was getting dressed, that damn system popped up again. Host, Isabel says she's coming to find you. I've approved it. The child is so young. What's the big deal about staying in that world a little longer? I laughed coldly. What's the big deal? If you think it's so great, you stay there. I'm not stopping you. A system like you is absolutely disgusting. The system was furious. But things are different now. Before, when my mission was incomplete, it could punish me. Now, I had nothing to fear. It kept screaming in my head, adopting a new strategy. If I can't beat you, I'll annoy you to death. I tuned it out. My company had called me multiple times over the past 3 days. I've been fired for being a no-show. Who could I even complain to about this? People would kill for a job at a company like that. Mark liked a crowd, so our usual spot was a loud downtown bar. I threw on some clothes and headed out. Isabel's paranoia had been so bad, she'd forbidden me from going to bars. Tonight, I was going to make up for lost time. I found Mark in our usual booth, a drink already in his hand. He gave me a lazy wave. Busy the last few days? Too busy for your friends. Should I tell him? Or would he think I was crazy? Screw it. You're not going to believe this, but I think I was in another dimension for the past few days. I just got back. I told him everything. When I got to the emotional parts, my voice choked up. That's psycho. I've never been treated like that in my life. She was abusive, and if I fought back, that goddamn system would electrocute me. It was the first time Mark had heard anything like it, and he looked skeptical, but he played along, offering support. Jesus, man, what kind of person does that? Don't worry, a few of us will come crash at your place tonight. Keep you safe. The system chose that moment to reappear. Host, Isabel has found you. I ignored it. So what if she found me? I was never going back. The bar was getting livelier, and I was getting drunk. Mark helped me up, and I was still ranting. That damn system. It's no different from human trafficking. I was trapped there, couldn't get out. It was like being kidnapped and taken to the mountains, only to climb one peak and see nothing but more mountains. The system screamed in my head. We are not a trafficking system. Don't you dare slander us. Mark couldn't hear it, but based on my description, he seemed to agree. Outside the bar, the cool night air hit my face, sobering me up instantly. Of course, it wasn't the wind. It was the person standing in front of me. Isabel stood there, holding Chloe's hand, a grotesque smile plastered on her face. Mark didn't recognize them. Excuse me, he said politely. Can we get by? Chloe shoved him hard. Who are you? Get your filthy hands off my dad. Mark shot me a confused look. Hey, what's your problem, kid? My friend is 21. He's not married. Stop trying to claim random dads. He doesn't have a daughter like you. The moment Chloe spoke, Mark realized I had been telling the truth. But so what? I could just deny everything. I let out a cold laugh. Where did these two beggars come from? Can you please not go around claiming strangers as your father? Perhaps I've been too good to Chloe in the past, because she clearly didn't grasp the severity of the situation. She latched onto my leg. Daddy, stop joking around. Let's go home. I looked up at Isabel. She was watching with a smug, triumphant expression, making no move to stop her daughter. As if a child was all it took to chain me to her. To disabuse her of that notion, I raised my hand and, with all the strength I could muster, slapped Chloe across the face. Get off me, you little mutt. Scram. In her world, everyone tiptoed around Chloe, the precious princess of the Reed family. No one would dare speak harshly to her, let alone hit her. The shock of the slap seemed to stun her more than the pain. A long time ago, when Isabel was still chasing Caleb and her emotional state was a roller coaster, her instability index would spike to 99. The system had told me, perhaps having a child will stabilize her. I didn't love Isabel. I had initially admired her ambition, but admiration isn't love. Chloe's arrival simply gave me something to do. Our relationship settled into a stable, empty routine. Isabel stared at me, her eyes wide, as if she couldn't believe I'd actually done it. She scooped Chloe into her arms. Wyatt, you're a father. How could you treat your own daughter like that? You're nothing like Caleb. He's so gentle and kind. I laughed. Why should I be gentle and kind like Caleb Vance? So I'd be easier for you to control? So you could feel superior? Is that it? My words hit their mark. Isabel was flustered. In her mind, I was supposed to be the same old doormat, completely obedient to her every whim. Mark, having had enough of this toxic woman, grabbed my arm to pull me away. What a waste of air, he muttered over his shoulder. We were about to get in the car when Isabel called out again. Wyatt, we just got to this world. We don't have anywhere to stay. Could you? I slammed the car door shut, cutting her off. In my head, the system was pleading. Host, if you do this, Isabel will destabilize. I was already home. She could stabilize. I didn't care. My mission is complete, I said to it. When are you leaving? I've already reported your conduct to the Continuum Authority. If you don't leave on your own, they'll come and retrieve you personally. I had Leo to thank for that little tidbit. Even though he was stuck in that world, he told me a lot about the agency that oversaw these things. The system went quiet for a moment. Then it tried again. Host, please, I'm begging you go back. Chloe is the protagonist of the next book. If she has a breakdown, I'll be held responsible. Not my problem, I said coldly. When I was trapped in that world, crying and begging you to send me home, you didn't seem to care much, did you? The system had probably never considered that the bullet it fired back then would one day end up between its own eyes. It fell silent for a moment, then began a new tactic, brainwashing. A parent's love for their child is boundless. Why can other people love their children so much, but you can't? Love my child? Does my child love me? You know exactly how hard I worked to raise her. And besides, is she even my daughter? Don't lecture me. The system had lost all pretense of being anything other than a selfish, manipulative kidnapper. She's just a child. What does she know? I just laughed and didn't answer. When it saw I was ignoring it, the system seemed to decide it was in the right and just started screaming in my head, determined to keep me from getting any sleep. Mark, worried about me, decided to move in for a few days. Dude, try not to think about it. Just get some sleep. Lying in bed, replaying everything in my mind, Mark's presence was a huge comfort. The next morning, Mark stayed home from work, but I had to go out and look for a new job. I thought Isabel would have given up. She was obsessed with her image, with maintaining a veneer of respectability. The system was quiet too. By my calculations, the Continuum Authority had probably already picked it up. I opened my front door. Standing there, looking pathetic, were Isabel and Chloe. Wyatt, you're finally willing to see me. I knew you, Isabel began, but her words just made me sick. I wasn't seeing her. I was leaving to go to a job interview. Mark came up behind me. Seeing the toxic duo again, he went into full-on mouthpiece mode. What are you talking about? Who gave you permission to call him Wyatt? Who the hell do you think you are, showing up in front of my friend? Get lost. He's not going back with you. But Isabel was relentless, and Chloe had clearly inherited her family's worst traits. She latched onto my leg again, pointing at Mark and wailing. Daddy, don't leave me. Don't listen to that old man. You're my dad. You're supposed to come home and take care of me. Some people just never learn. The memory of the last slap had already faded. My hand flew up again. This time, though, it didn't connect. Isabel stepped in front of me, her eyes blazing with fury. Enough. What kind of father are you? The child is so young. You abandoned her, and now you hit her every chance you get? I understood now why she was so confident. Chloe's theatrics had drawn a crowd. People were poking their heads out of their apartments, whispering, "That father is so cruel. The kid's only, 3 or 4? The woman doesn't look so bad. He probably has someone on the side. Men these days are so heartless. Not even a kid can tie them down." I didn't say a word. I lowered my hand, then raised it again. This time, it was aimed at Isabel's face. She clutched her cheek, her expression one of pure disbelief. Chloe immediately rushed to her side. "Mommy!" I watched the touching scene with cold eyes. It was strange. When Chloe was a baby, Isabel barely paid her any attention. But as Chloe got older and realized her mother was the one in charge, she started sucking up to her constantly. Now, she was more loyal to Isabel than she ever was to me. Isabel's eyes were filled with venom. "Wyatt Evans, I have given you too much face." With that, she grabbed a fire extinguisher off the hallway wall and swung at my head. The crowd of onlookers finally realized this wasn't what it seemed. Isabel wasn't some wronged woman. She was a violent lunatic. Mark was prepared. He grabbed the electric kettle from just inside my door and threw the boiling water at her face, then quickly pulled me inside and slammed the door. We could hear Isabel's enraged screams and the sound of the fire extinguisher smashing against the door. "Should we call the cops?" Mark asked calmly, setting the kettle down. I shook my head. She's not from this world. Our laws can't touch her. Besides, she's all bark and no bite. She's a bully who preys on the weak. She wouldn't dare hurt anyone else. Seeing how calm I was, Mark didn't press the issue. That evening, I saw Isabel again by the entrance to my apartment complex. Her face had lost its usual glow. Her skin had a sickly, grayish tint. The moment she saw me, she rushed over. "Wyatt, let's go home. Our daughter isn't adjusting well to being away for so long." I didn't miss the malice in her eyes. She was probably already planning how she'd get the system to help her beat me again once she got me back. Chloe hugged my leg. "Daddy, let's go home. Uncle Caleb is so nice. I'm sure he won't hold a grudge for what you did." Hilarious. Who did she think she was? Isabel leaned against a nearby planter, not moving. I sneered and looked down at Chloe. "Don't call me Daddy. I'm not your father. Your father is the butler at the Reed estate. The one you hate so much, Mr. Peterson." Chloe wasn't mine. I never loved Isabel, and I would never have a child with her. One night, Isabel got drunk and ended up sleeping with the household butler, Peterson. She didn't even remember it. Later, when she found out she was pregnant, Peterson wanted to confess. I told him to keep his mouth shut, let Isabel give birth to the child, and she would be raised as the Reed family's eldest daughter. If Chloe had been my actual daughter, she would have been dead the first time she betrayed me. Isabel shot upright. "How was that possible? Wyatt, you must be joking, right?" Chloe whined beside her. "Daddy, you're so petty. Just because I didn't stick up for you, you're saying I'm not your daughter." I spoke with dead seriousness. "You're not my daughter. I was just responsible for raising you. Your father is Mr. Peterson. I even have the paternity test results right here. I never loved your mother. Why would I ever let her have my child?" Worried they still wouldn't believe me, I added, "Besides, you look nothing like me. I don't have a daughter who is so rude and ugly." Isabel never paid much attention to Chloe. If she had ever looked closely, she would have realized there was no resemblance between us at all. The shock was too much for Isabel. Her face turned ashen, and she coughed up a mouthful of blood. Wiping her sleeve across her mouth, she saw my triumphant expression and snarled, "You poisoned me?" Seeing her so utterly broken brought me nothing but satisfaction. "Poison you? You really overestimate your own importance. I wouldn't want to dirty my hands. This is on you. You're paying the price for destroying an innocent family. It's only natural they'd come looking for revenge." Chloe was terrified, collapsing onto the ground in a heap. "Oh, and by the way," I added, "the person you wronged didn't want you to die too quickly. They made some adjustments to your diet. You're not exactly well read, so you probably don't know that you shouldn't eat shrimp with a high dose of vitamin C, do you?" I had hit her where it hurt most. Her face twisted in rage. She'd grown up in the foster system, hated school, and barely had a high school education. Without my help, she would have died long ago. Chloe scrambled to help her up. Mommy, let's go home. Let's go find Uncle Caleb." Isabel shoved her away impatiently. To her, people were only valuable if they were useful. Chloe had been the chain to keep me tethered, and now that chain was broken. "Then send me back," Isabel commanded, her tone imperious. "I need to see a doctor. How the hell was I supposed to send them back? I wasn't the one who brought them here. Go find whoever brought you here. Stop having your meltdown in front of me." I picked up my briefcase and turned to leave. I had shopping to do. Isabel instantly blocked my path. "Wyatt Evans, you're not going anywhere. Aren't you supposed to listen to everything I say? You always used to be so obedient." I said nothing, just quickened my pace and moved around her. "Wait," she called out. "Wyatt, tell me, what did I do wrong?" Even now, after everything, she still didn't get it. I had no desire to be anyone's savior, especially not for a simple-minded creature like Isabel. "Figure it out yourself." With that, she still wouldn't let me leave. "Did you really never love me?" I let out a cold laugh and walked away without looking back. Hanging out with my friends was far more important. Epilogue. Isabel's perspective after years of being married to Wyatt Evans. I was convinced I didn't love him. He was better than me in every way, and being with him just made me feel small and insignificant. But Wyatt was different from everyone else. He seemed uniquely attuned to my moods. That made me happy. At least it proved I wasn't worthless. As for my past hardships, I decided it was all his fault. If only he had found me sooner. Wyatt was completely devoted to me. He was even willing to let me take over his company, not even objecting when I changed its name to my own. But I hated looking at his face. He rarely smiled, and his eyes always seemed to say, "See this? Everything you have right now is mine. It's just the scraps I didn't want anymore, a gift I bestowed upon you." It was agonizing. Only Caleb Vance made me feel at ease. Like me, Caleb grew up in the foster care system. To make money, he'd worked under the table in bars. When I was with him, I felt a sense of superiority. So when I found out Wyatt wasn't from this world and that he had to go back, I wasn't worried. He was my child's father. He would never leave her. Besides, even without a child, he was so pathetically desperate for my affection that he'd surely stay. The Evans family had really raised a worthless son. I never expected him to be so determined to leave. I thought it was just one of his little ploys for attention. And no matter how much I enjoyed Caleb's company, I would never marry him. He had far too little to offer me. I followed Wyatt, thinking I was going his world. I assumed a little coaxing would be enough to bring him back. In the past, he would have been falling over himself with gratitude. This time, it was different. He said he had never loved me, that everything he did was just a means to go home. Impossible. That was absolutely impossible. If he didn't love me, why would he let me give birth to Chloe and then raise her with such care? It wasn't until he told me that Chloe was Peterson's daughter that my world shattered. When I looked closely, it was true. Chloe looked nothing like Wyatt. The news pierced my heart like a knife, and I coughed up blood. What infuriated me even more was that Wyatt had known someone was poisoning me and did nothing to stop it. This couldn't be happening. Wyatt was the man who would do anything, even debase himself, just to be with me. After returning to my world, my life began to slip away. Chloe was still obsessed with Caleb, but Caleb only ever got close to her with an ulterior motive. He constantly urged me to marry him. The moment I made it clear I wouldn't, he moved on to another wealthy woman without a second thought. The Reed Corporation's profits plummeted. My body was failing. And Chloe, she just stood over me, beating my weakened body with her fists. Mom, if you don't get up and go to work, what's going to happen to me? This child was a stain, a mistake that never should have been born. My body felt so heavy. The moon was so full tonight. Wyatt, where did I go wrong?